Hi everyone, thank you for joining me and welcome to our practice. My name is Stuart Pilkington, I'm a yoga teacher and a wellness coach. And in today's class, I'm going to guide you through a practice that will most definitely bring you a deeper sense of ease and comfort to your life. And to back that up, I want to start by sharing some of the evidence that underlines the effectiveness of the practices that we're going to share. I always think that's important because if there's scientific study, if there's an outside study that says, listen, these techniques work, then often students give themselves to it much more readily. And that's what I want because I know these practices work. I've used them myself for the past 15 years and I've used them with many of my students for the same length of time. We're not going to get bogged down with overly technical or complex terminology because we're not here to study, we're not here to pass exams, but I do feel it's really valuable to understand some quite simple concepts about our physiology. So we're going to look at something called the autonomic nervous system. Some of you may have heard of that. The autonomic nervous system is the part of our nervous system that plays a really crucial role in regulating our stress levels. It operates often automatically, although we can actually take control of it using different techniques. And it decides whether our body should be in a heightened state, an elevated state, or whether we should be in a more calm and relaxed state in response to what we're experiencing, how we're experiencing the world around us and how we're feeling inside. Now, this biological response crosses over to a concept that's found in psychology, and it helps us understand how this works in real time, in day-to-day life. And it's called the window of tolerance. It explains that we have a capacity of stress that varies throughout the day. Sometimes we need a heightened state of awareness and alertness. Sometimes we need to really focus on a task in hand. And other times we need to be more reflective, more creative in our thinking, and so we need to be more relaxed. Sometimes we're triggered through the day, and this is absolutely normal because that's life. Life triggers us. But a healthy working autonomic nervous system helps us deregulate. So when we feel moments of challenge, when we feel moments of stress, we have a greater capacity to calm ourselves down.
We all have zones or ranges of optimal coping and functioning, as shown by the green band in the diagram. This is known as our window of tolerance. When an individual is within their optimal zone or window of tolerance, they are able to experience and tolerate thoughts and emotions, and they are able to cope with the ups and downs, opportunities and challenges of everyday life without much difficulty. They will be more able and likely to take in and process information, think logically, and make informed decisions and respond and behave in developmentally appropriate ways. Windows of tolerance, that is, the degree to which we can cope, will vary from person to person and will vary for each individual depending on what we are doing and what is happening around us. Those who have a narrow window of tolerance may feel as though their emotions are highly changeable or intense, which can be overwhelming and hard to cope with.
So just to further highlight that idea, the issue that many of us have is that we struggle to return to a calm, relaxed state. Life is challenging, life is tough, and so we're going to get elevated. We don't want to shy away from that because we want to engage with life. What we want to do is have a greater capacity to be engaged with life, to occasionally be stressed and challenged, but be able to re-regulate ourselves, to calm down and to come into a more peaceful state of being. And if we can't do that, if we can't re-regulate ourselves, then this is one of the most prominent causes for high levels of stress, anxiety, and even depression. Now, thankfully, we have a really simple yet powerful tool at our disposal, and that's the breath. Neuroscientists, super intelligent, clever people, much more intelligent than myself, such as Dr. Andrew Huberman, Dr. Sarah Lazar, they have demonstrated through clinical study that the techniques that we use today, such as controlled breathing and meditation techniques, they help change our perspective on what we're experiencing. And they can create quite incredibly profound instant changes within our body so that we feel more relaxed. But how we breathe is the key. Fast, shallow breaths breathing into the upper chest signal our system that we're stressed, potentially that there's a threat to our body. Now, slower, longer exhales, breathing deeper down into our anatomy, signals our body that everything's fine and that we feel calm and collected. Learning this one simple technique allows us to change the way in which we breathe in order to elicit a certain response. So we can have a really simple, really effective and accessible technique, breathing, we all breathe. So then you go, well, why doesn't everyone use it? Well, there are many reasons for that, and many of those include that people actually don't learn any of this stuff. None of us got taught how to breathe better at school or through any part of our education, really. And it's one of the techniques that has only gathered a lot of evidence, scientific evidence, and really become almost fashionable in recent years. But now that you know it, from this point on, you're not one of those people. You have this technique, and it's a technique that you can access any time that you need it. And so when you learn the technique, you practice it, and then you pass it on to others whom you think it can help. And then boom, we get to change the world. And that's not a bad little thing to do from a very simple yoga class that we're going to share. So in today's practice, we're going to share 3 stages of breath. First one is that we breathe through the nose. As long as you're not overly congested, breathing in and out through the nose is a much better way to breathe. It helps filters the breath, it helps moistens the breath, and it also helps regulate the rhythm and speed much better. Secondly, we breathe into the diaphragm. This is one of my bugbears with many in the yoga community because it's a really poor teaching where they say breathe into the abdomen is diaphragmatic breathing, and it's really not. I'm going to show you a better way to breathe into the diaphragm. And then secondly, I'm going to help you learn a greater ability to control the inhale and the exhale. Remember, strong, fast inhales elevate the system. Just think of that movement then that I did. When do you breathe like that? When you're really physically challenged, like you're doing really intense exercise, or you're stressed or anxious or nervous. How do you breathe when you're really relaxed? Hardly noticeable. Don't hear anything. You certainly don't. No one's lay on a lilo with a cocktail in the hand going, this is so relaxing. How do we breathe when we're relaxed? Quiet, calm, long exhale, super chilled. Now, if we can harness that into a practice today, then 2 things can happen. 1, you are going to feel an instant release. Now, the degree of that release is going to depend on how you feel at this present moment, but you are going to calm down. And the best thing about this is that it has a cumulative influence. Dr. Sarah Lazar and Andrew Huberman, through their universities where they have labs in Stanford and Harvard over in the States, they have proved that if you practice these techniques in a consistent manner, then they create specific positive changes to your brain physiology, to the way in which you perceive stressful events in your life, and importantly, the way you respond to stressful moments in your life. So practicing this technique today is going to make you feel more relaxed, but if you continue to practice it with greater regularity, it's going to change everything about you and improve yourself in the way in which you perceive and again respond to stress. That's life-changing, simply life-changing. Now, before we get started, I want to go through the technical aspects. First thing we said is that we're going to breathe through the nose. This is really important for us. So throughout practice, I'm going to cue you to keep the lips sealed. Now, not tightly pursed, just very gently the lips come together. If you can do that and still part the teeth, that would be advisable too. And then simply gently inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. That was our stage 1. Stage 2 was diaphragmatic breathing. This is where earlier I went, ooh, and I winced a little bit, and I went, ooh, the yoga community, and sometimes breathwork practices frustrate me a little bit with this. Because often it's taught that if you breathe into your belly, that's diaphragmatic breathing, and it may well be, but not always. Your diaphragm is a muscle that isn't located down here in the abdomen, it's located up here underneath the rib cage, and it actually connects to the bottom 2 or 3 ribs. So the best way to ensure that we are using the diaphragm to our greatest effect and influence, which helps us come into a more relaxed state, is doing this. Come to the sides of your body, Find the fleshy part of your body. So I'm prodding into where all the flesh is. I'm going to keep working up to the sides until I feel the bony structure of my rib cage. Now those bottom 2 or 3 ribs are very elastic. All of your ribs are elastic, but those bottom 2 or 3 do this. When you inhale, they open up. Maybe not to that quite degree, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but they open up, and then when you exhale, they pull in like this. So the best way to enhance this muscle, the diaphragm, and get a greater connection to it is this. While you're sat up, and we're going to do this lay down too, find that fleshy part, so no bones, no ribs, no bones, no bones. Bones. Okay, I can feel those bottom 2 or 3 bones right there come into the sides. So again, I'm not here at the front, I'm in here at the sides. And then what I'm going to do is press in with a real good degree of force so I can really feel that. And then sealing the lips down, breathing in and out through the nose, I'm going to breathe into my hands. Now this is better done with your eyes closed. When our eyes are open, we're very visually distracted. Now if you feel uncomfortable closing your eyes, that's absolutely fine. I completely understand that, many people do. Then simply lower your gaze down so you can really focus and feel how your body breathes. So here, I'm doing this. I'm pressing in, lowering the gaze or closing the eyes. And then where I can feel my hands, I'm going to breathe into that area. And then after I pause, I'm going to breathe out through the nose, release all of the air, everything out until I feel my hands move back in. Now let's do this several times. Look to me for a moment. So your hands placed against your rib cage are going to do this. Inhale, they move apart, and exhale, they move in together. Inhale, they move apart, exhale, they move in. And if you can feel this movement, that's a good indication that you're getting better relationship with your diaphragm, which we won't say in this video, but trust me, even though you've never met me before, trust me, there's a whole host of benefits to using your diaphragm better when you breathe. None more so than it helps you come into a more relaxed, calm and peaceful state. So if you can breathe into this region, boom, high five moment, well done you. So let's do it just a couple more times together here. Sat or lay down, eyes closed, lips sealed, breathe into that region. And breathe out to that area slowly. And again, inhale. And exhale. Now, when we come into the practice, once you feel that you have connection with this region, then you can bring the hands by your side. If you find it's useful to keep your hands rested here, that's absolutely fine too. And then that third and final component is that I'm going to encourage you to inhale and exhale to the same length. Just to recap on what we said earlier, short, deep inhales, elevate the system. Sometimes we need that. If we need to focus, if we've got something physical to do, deep inhales is what we need. If we need to really relax, maybe go to sleep, calm the system down, long exhales help us do that. If we balance the two, we come into a state of equilibrium, harmony, where we drop into a more peaceful and focused state. So I'm engaged, I'm tuned into life, but I'm kind of on a level. Feel a little more peaceful, not caffeinated. That's what we're going to practice this evening. Now, to help you do that, you're going to hear an audio tape from myself. I'm going to guide you through the practice. We're also going to use some music, and you'll hear a beat in the music, a ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. And eventually, when my instruction fades out, you're going to stay tuned into the music, and you're going to inhale when you hear that beat and slowly inhale right down, and then exhale when you hear the beat, and inhale when you hear the beat, and exhale when you hear that beat. That's going to signal to all of your physiology, all of your anatomy and biology to go, listen, I'm in a good place, drop into a peaceful state. And then some further instruction from me is going to hopefully take you into an even deeper state of ease. And then that's the technique that I'm going to encourage you to practice throughout the remainder of the week. If you want this technique alone, without all the jargon that I'm so grateful that you have sat through and I hope you found valuable, then please let myself know or whoever you're getting this video through, and I will be more than happy to share the audio track and many of my audio tracks that I have for breathing and meditation, hypnotherapy, and even yoga practice, absolutely free of charge. You just let the person know whom you've had this video off, and I will send it over to you. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy the practice. I will see you at the other side of this. Get yourself comfortable. Let's go, my friends. Welcome to another Breathe class with myself, Stuart Pilkington. Today we will practice balancing breath, where you simply balance the length of the inhale with the length of the exhale. Before we start the practice, I invite you to find somewhere comfortable to sit with a backrest, or maybe lie down onto your back. Take a few gentle stretches so the body feels open and relaxed. And then lower the gaze, or if you feel comfortable with closing your eyes, I suggest that you close your eyes. Take a deep breath in, mouth open for a sigh, seal the lips, and then listen to the music. Tune into the beat. In a few moments you'll hear a gong, and then we will simply inhale to one beat and exhale to the next. Let's begin. In, out, 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 in, out. Continue the breath in, balancing the inhale and the exhale out. Pay attention to the sensation of breath as the inhale helps the body expand out, and the exhale brings you a sense of release. Out. In. Out. And that brings our practice to a close, my friend. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose. Mouth open, big sigh. When you're ready, blink your eyes open. Reach hands overhead and point the toes. Stretch the body so you can feel that sense of openness. And all that's left is to thank you for practicing with me and to say I'll see you again soon. Have a great day.